In today's video, we are talking all about how to set your MacBook up for coding and productivity. And we are setting it up in a way that's gonna streamline your workflows, make coding more efficient, and hopefully boost your productivity. So welcome back to a brand new video, and welcome if you are new here. If you are new here, my name is Liv and I love everything tech. So if that's something you're interested in, please do consider hitting subscribe. So the MacBook I'm setting up today is the M3 Macbook Pro in this space black color. I have already done the kind of basic Mac settings and I have a video on that. So if you're interested, go and check that out. Now, don't worry if you have any other models. So if you have an M1, an M2 or an Intel-based MacBook, you can still follow along this tutorial. And for my Linux and Windows users, I'm also going to try and pop some Linux and Windows alternatives in the description box below if I'm using or talking about any Mac specific apps. So everybody should be able to follow this video, and that makes me very happy because these are apps that you honestly don't want to miss out on because they are so great. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is install my favorite browser, and it's very important to consider what browser is right for you. But my preferred browser is Google Chrome, and here's why. So Google Chrome is a fast and widely used web browser, and of course it's developed by Google. Chrome is pretty much known for its efficient performance, its tabbed browsing, and also its clean interface, so it's really easy to use, right? My favorite things about Google Chrome is obviously the ability to have your Google Chrome account. So you can kind of have your calendar, your Gmail, and just your kind of browsing account all in one place. Okay, another thing I love about Google Chrome is obviously they have the Chrome web store. So you can download loads of different extensions and themes for your Google Chrome, which just either can support things like customization. So for example, I love using the custom cursor extension in order to get my little Hello Kitty and 𝚑𝚘𝚘𝚗𝚘 cursors that you guys have been using and you ask me about all the time. They've got so many different options. So even if, for example, you just wanted maybe a simple black cursor, you can probably get this on here. So I recommend checking it out. Sticking on brand with the customization, obviously Google Chrome also has so many themes available. My favorite one is this dark theme V3, which I'm currently using, and this is what it looks like. I feel like it's really nice, sleek, elegant. Okay, some other extensions that I really like. I'm just going to show you two of my favorite. The first one is Search GPT for Chrome. Okay, so let me show you how this works. Basically, every single time you Google something, it's going to pop up with a ChatGPT window that can sometimes give you the answer fairly quickly. Alternatively, instead of going into ChatGPT directly and opening up a new tab, you can also just click in your little extension tab up here and it opens up a little chat window with ChatGPT, which I just find really useful sometimes. My only complaint about this is that I definitely recommend signing into a different account with that extension, because as you can see, every single time you make a Google search, it will store it in your chat history with ChatGPT. So I do have a different account for this extension and then my usual ChatGPT account. Okay, final extension I'm going to show you is the Marinara Pomodoro Assistant. I know I'm not a student anymore. I have a job. I am a full-blown adult, but I do still really enjoy using the Pomodoro Assistant when I am working. Most people know what the Pomodoro method is. It's basically just timing yourself, work, and then giving yourself allocated time slots for breaks as well. Again, let me quickly show you how this works. So you just come up and click this little tomato and then it will literally just start a 25-minute timer for you. Okay, another option for your browser, which so many of you guys have recommended to me in the past. I've only been using it for a few weeks, so I'm not actually going to talk about it too much in this video because I don't feel like I've used it long enough to actually give you my full thoughts or like an in-depth honest review. However, I have really enjoyed using it so far. But Brave is a privacy-focused web browser. It was developed by Brave, but it's actually built on Chromium, which is the same open source software that Google Chrome is built on, which might sound boring, but it's actually really cool because it means that you can use Google Chrome extensions in Brave. So basically, Brave emphasizes user security and privacy, number one, by blocking ads and by blocking trackers and other web elements that can compromise your privacy or security when you're browsing the internet. Okay, moving on. Now this is the number one thing that anyone who owns a Mac should install, and that is Homebrew. Okay, so Homebrew is a popular package manager. It's a free and open source software that basically allows you to install software and libraries from the command line. So it just makes installing everything so easy. So in order to install it, all we need to do is go to the Homebrew website, and you literally just want to copy and paste this little bit of code that you see on the home screen. Okay, then come to your launchpad and you want to open up the inbuilt terminal on Mac, which yes, at the moment looks very boring, but don't worry, in just a minute we are going to fix that. But for now, let's install Homebrew. So this is where you want to copy and paste that code that you just copied from the Homebrew website, hit enter, and then this is going to prompt you for your password, so enter that. and then we are going to start installing Homebrew. Simple as that. And throughout this video, you're going to see why having Brew installed in your MacBook is so handy and can save you so much time. Okay, once you've successfully installed Homebrew, it's very important that you read the output, to be honest, of any command that you ever write. But it's very important that you read the one from Homebrew because it's actually telling you the next few steps that you need to do in order to make sure that you've installed Homebrew correctly. So as you can see, it's saying next steps, make sure you run these 2 commands in your terminal to add Homebrew to your path. So we are going to go ahead and do that. So I'm just copying and pasting it into my terminal there. And now Homebrew is all set up. Okay, so as you guys saw, we have just used the inbuilt terminal on Mac. However, there are many other different options that you can use for your terminal, for example, like iTerm2 or Warp. Now, for anyone who knows me or anyone who works with me, you guys know that I absolutely love working from the terminal. It's actually my preferred method of working. So even when I'm using VS Code to actually write my code, I usually have an independent terminal open, and that's where I'll be testing and actually running my code. And for years, I was actually just using the inbuilt terminal on Mac. But for a few months now, my preferred terminal of choice has actually been Warp. So I was actually so excited when Warp approached us about a collaboration because as I said, I've been using it for a few months. I've been really enjoying it. Yeah, I feel like this is the perfect video for me to take you through some of the features and show you guys why I actually enjoy using Warp. This video is actually sponsored by Warp, which is so exciting. So yeah, let's see how Brew comes in handy now, and let's download Warp and get into why it's so cool. This is where I want to show you how you can use Brew. So we're going to come back to the Homebrew website, and I'm going to go in this search box and I'm actually going to type in Warp. And as you can see, it's actually going to give me the command again that I can just copy and paste into my terminal. And what this is going to do is install Warp for me. So rather than going to the website of any app that you actually want to download, having to download it, move it all into your applications and everything, you can just do it directly from the terminal. I find that it's actually a lot quicker as well, and it's obviously so much easier. So this is why I recommend using Homebrew. Okay, so while it's installing, let me tell you a little bit about it. So it's a Rust-based terminal. It has built-in AI, which is one of the features that I really enjoy about it. Okay, it's already installed. So let's open it up and have a look. Okay, first thing to mention about Warp is that it does require a sign-in. I know some of you guys are not going to be overly keen on that, but yes, you do have to sign in. I am already signed in because I have it linked to my Gmail account, so that's all sorted out already. Okay, now when you first open up Warp, this is exactly what it looks like. So already it's looking a little bit more exciting than the inbuilt Mac terminal, but if you want to customize it even further, you can do that by coming up into the settings. As you can see, it has many inbuilt themes, just like you find on VS Code or any other code editor that you're probably already quite familiar with. Okay, you can also change the font and the font size as well, but I actually really like the default, so I'm just gonna stick with that. Okay, Warp also has some really great inbuilt keyboard shortcuts. So for example, we can use Command Shift T in order to quickly open up the theme picker panel, and we can easily switch in between the different themes there. And as you can see, there are tons of other different keyboard shortcuts which are super useful for, like I said, just speeding up your workflows and making everything a little bit more efficient. So to show you some of the cool things that Warp can do, I'm just going to start out by using some very basic commands in the terminal. So I'm going to start out by using ls just to list all of the different files and folders in the current directory that we are in. Okay, so as you can see, Warp does this really cool thing, but it actually will group your command and then also your output into something that it calls a block. This is just a lot easier on the eye for me. I find this is really nice for actually organizing my thoughts in my head, because I can really nicely see the command that I've entered and then also the output together. I find this is really useful when you're running either large lines of code or when your output is also different, like large lines of code as well. Another really cool thing about it is that if we actually hover on these 3 dots next to the block, we are actually presented with the option to either copy the command or copy the output individually. Even better, you can actually click on this little button that says share, and you can actually create a link which you're then able to share with anyone. And let me show you how that looks. I feel like this will be so useful for teamwork, and also for me. For example, I'm often helping students with basic kind of coding, navigation, or just basic coding skills in general. And I just feel like this will be really nice just to be able to like quickly send them over bits of code. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this feature. I think it's really sick. Okay, next feature that is absolutely sick. If we click on the top arrow key, as you can see, it's actually going to present you with a history of previous commands that you've run. This is, for me personally, a game changer. I often am literally holding down that arrow key, trying to find a line of code that I ran maybe a few days ago or even like an hour ago that I need to run again, but for some reason I didn't write down anywhere. So one of those kind of like really little things that actually day to day save you so much time and also just save you a big headache. Okay, next up, my main source of frustration, and honestly the reason that I was like, okay, I need to stop using just the terminal and I need to move to code editors is, you know, when you're working in the terminal and you write out like a full command, then you realize that you've made an error on like the second, I don't know, word in the whole sentence, and you actually have to scroll all the way back because you can't just click anywhere in the sentence to like fix your spelling mistake. Well, in Warp you can actually do that, which is mind-blowing. So let me show you. That's a demonstration of how you can use it. I think it's so cool. And again, one of those really little things that just save you so much time. Okay, last feature that I want to talk about is one that we should be and probably will be seeing in all kind of features or apps released in the near future, and that is that they have released AI into the terminal. So I find this really useful in instances where I need to do something quite complex but also really easy and I've just completely forgotten how to do it. So for example, say there was an instance where I wanted to find all of the files in my MacBook which had the extension PDF. All I need to do is use tilde to open up Warp AI, and then I can just say exactly what I want to do. So find all PDF files on my MacBook. And as you can see, it actually gives you the command that it suggests that you use. You can then click on it if you like the look of it, and it will auto-populate it for you. Then all you need to do is hit enter, and as you can see, it runs the command for you, and there we go, it's finding all of the PDF files on my MacBook. This probably wasn't the best example because there's gonna be tons, as you can see in the output here, but yeah, it also obviously just saves you having to have that extra kind of ChatGPT window open because you can just do it all directly within the terminal, which I think is super cool. So yeah, especially if you are new to the terminal, you haven't used it, you feel scared of using the terminal, I feel like Warp is just a great place to start. It's a great place to start familiarizing yourself with the terminal and getting used to coding directly within the terminal as well. So of course I will have Warp linked down below, and thank you so much again to Warp for sponsoring this video. And now let's move on to our next essential app. Now the next app will come as no surprise to most of you, and that is of course VS Code. So VS Code is a widely used source code editor and it's super popular amongst developers mostly. I personally feel like it is massively underutilized in the academic and data science space, but it actually has so many good extensions for data scientists and academics. So I'll try and show a few of those to you today. First, download VS Code. Again, we can use Brew. Now, two things I like to do when I open up VS Code. Number one is hit Control-Shift-P, type in code. You want to find the line that says install code command in path. What this means is that you're going to be able to open VS Code just using code dot from the terminal rather than having to find the app. You don't have to do this, but sometimes it's just a little bit useful. If you've got a terminal open and you want to quickly open up VS Code, you can just do it that way. But again, you don't have to do it. Okay, and the next thing I always do when I open up VS Code is, of course, choose a theme. Now you have several options here. You can either design your own theme. If you're interested in doing that, I have a video tutorial and also a free guide, which I'll link down below. Or you can just choose a theme from the extension tabs. Obviously, I have my own themes on there if you want to use those. So I'm going to go ahead and use my favorite one, which is agenomicsphd code. This is a pink and blue tone theme, which I think is really pretty. I mean, I would hope so because I spent ages trying to make it. But another theme I really like I said earlier, is Dracula. So if you don't like my one, I recommend checking out Dracula. Okay, along with changing the color theme, I will usually also install an icon pack, which is basically just another way of personalizing the IDE's visual aesthetics. However, beyond aesthetic considerations, the icon packs I feel like also facilitate efficient file type recognition, which ultimately streamlines your navigation process. So moving between different files, it just makes it a little bit easier to know which kind of files you're clicking into. With options ranging from minimalistic designs to thematic visual elements, incorporating an icon pack enhances both the visual appeal and also the functionality of the VS Code interface, which offers a professional yet customized touch to the coding experience. My favorite is actually the Animal Crossing icon pack, which looks like this, and yeah, I think it's really cute. Another extension I love is VS Code Pets. This is the fun extension that injects a bit of like fun and personality into your editor. So in VS Code Pets, you can choose from a variety of virtual pets like dogs, cats, rabbits, each with its own unique characteristics and animations. They live in like this little small window within your IDE, and they respond to coding activities and just provide kind of like a light-hearted presence as you work, but also serve as like a friendly reminder to just take a moment to actually enjoy the process of coding. Sometimes it's not always about the end product, but actually the journey that you go on to get to that end product, right? Okay, moving on to some more serious extensions. I will also always install all the language extensions that I might use. So for me, that would be Python, R, Julia, JavaScript. So install what's relevant for you using the same method that I'm doing here. So all I'm doing is going into the extensions tab, typing in the language that I want to install. And as you can see, you can just click on install. Of course, if you're downloading extensions for these languages and you then want to actually execute any code within VS Code using these languages, you need to make sure that you have actually installed that language onto your computer. So to do that, again, you can use Homebrew, or you can just go onto Google, search for download Python for Mac and install it that way. But yeah, make sure you are downloading languages that you're going to be using locally on your computer. I work mostly on a high performance cluster, so I actually don't have any kind of burning need to do that. But yeah, make sure that you are doing that if you need to. Of course, I'm going to install ChatGPT to get a quick solution to some code errors if I ever need, and a few other extensions that I really enjoy, like IntelliCode, Rainbow CSV, which as a data scientist is one of my favorite extensions ever because it just helps you see your data so much easily, as you can see here. But I am actually going to be doing a full video on my VS Code setup, and I'm also going to do a little VS Code for beginners tutorial as well. So make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that video. But now let's move on to some of the productivity apps that I really like installing on my Mac that I feel like just help me get so much more work done and help me keep everything organized. Okay, so you guys ask me all the time what it is that I use to plan everything from content creation to gym progress to keeping track of my coding projects. And of course it is Notion. Notion is a productivity and note-taking app, which I feel like most of you guys should have probably heard about by now, but it is what I use to plan literally everything. I have actually a full video on my whole Notion setup, so I'm not going to go too in depth, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour. But yeah, as you can see, I do literally use it for everything. So I have separate pages for coding, life, tracking my incomes, taking notes, tracking my reading lists, and also planning out all of my videos, like for example, this one. But as this video is all about coding, I'm going to show you guys a snippet of my coding page. As you can see up here, I have quick access links. So these are all of the links that I use fairly often. For example, DataCamp. I'm pretty much always doing a course on DataCamp at any moment in time. So I'm always kind of dipping in and out of the website. So I have that link there just so I can easily access it, along with GitHub, Free Code Camp, and also my coding Discord. On the right hand side here, this is where I keep track of all of my personal and work projects, to be honest. So each of these you can open up as their own page, and they just have lots of detailed notes, screenshots, code blocks, and all of that good stuff. I just find it really useful to keep track of my project. Okay, here I also have my little cozy coding sessions playlist. Then down here I have resources and videos. So this is where I will record any useful videos that I've seen that I want to watch, or any courses or anything like that that I want to keep up to date with and make sure that I don't use the link for. And then down here we also have some code snippets. So I don't use this too often, but I did add it to my template just in case any of you guys would find it really useful. But this is just a place to dump code snippets that you find are really useful, but you think you may forget. So again, if you want to use my template or you want to see a full tour of my Notion, I'm going to have that video linked somewhere up here, and I'll also, of course, pop it in the description for you guys. Okay, next, another app that I love for productivity is Rectangle. Okay, so Rectangle is an app which you can use in order to basically split the views on your MacBook super easily with some different keyboard shortcuts. So say for example, you want to split your screen. So maybe you want your code open on one half, and then you want maybe an Excel spreadsheet open on another half. You can just use Rectangle in order to quickly just pop your Excel spreadsheet on the left-hand side and your code on the right-hand side. It has tons of different configurations. So that is just really easy. Saves you having to drag your windows across and kind of like resize them, or you can just use the Rectangle app. Next up, a few social apps that I use. Obviously Slack. I feel like so many developers use Slack, but I use Slack in order to communicate with actually my previous supervisor, who I still do some work for. every now and then because we are finishing up a few papers. So I use Slack in order to stay up to date with him. And then I also download Discord. If you guys don't know, I do have a coding Discord. I'll give you a little quick tour of it right now. This is your sign to download Discord and join the server because it is super useful, as you will see in just a second. So I believe we are literally just under 6,000 members. So it is growing super quickly. As you can see, we have so many different channels, all work and non-work related. It's just a really nice community that we've got here. We've got channels for bioinformaticians, web and app developers, data science, cybersecurity, and so much more. We also have help forums where people can post in any questions that they have about any code, kind of like a little mini Stack Overflow within the Discord server. So yeah, definitely recommend downloading this. Okay, and to end this video, I'm going to show you 1 or 2 things that I do actually on my general Mac settings in order to just make my life a little bit easier as well, and also just make my Mac more visually appealing. So if you've just got a brand new MacBook, you will notice that your dock, which is this little kind of bar on the side that has all of your apps, will be completely full with a load of random apps that you will never use, and they often can be quite distracting. So the first thing I would do, like I said, is clean up my dock. In order to do that, you would just need to come along to here, and you can control right click on any of these apps. You can then hover into options and choose to remove it from your dock. Equally, if you have an app open that you want to add to your dock permanently, say for example, I want to add Brave to my dock permanently, all I need to do is, again, control right click, head down to options, and then click on keep in dock. And then as you can see, even once I close this app, Brave will still be on my dock and is easily accessible. So I like to do that and just make sure that all of the apps that I regularly use are on my dock. Again, if you come into system settings, head down to desktop and dock, you can also change the position of your dock. So if you want it on the bottom, or you want it on the right hand side or the left hand side, here you can also change the size and the magnification of your dock as well. Okay, the very last thing that I want to show you is something that I like to do in my Finder, which I feel like makes navigation in the Mac OS a lot simpler, because honestly, by default, I think navigation in Mac OS is super clunky and just unnecessarily difficult. So I'll open up my Finder, click on view, and I will always toggle on the show path bar and also show the status bar. And then as you can see, I can see how much storage I've got available, and I can also see my file path as well, which is really nice. So we have now complete the setup of our MacBook. We've downloaded some really cool apps for coding and productivity. If you guys think I missed any apps, or there's any apps that you think I should check out, please comment them down below, because these are just apps that I have found along my journey of using the Mac OS, which I believe has been about 2 or 3 years now since I switched over from Linux to Mac. So yeah, there's probably some really cool apps out there that I am missing. But as you can tell, it's getting very dark outside very quickly. So I'm going to end this video here. I hope you guys enjoyed it and you found it useful, and I hope you learned something from this video. Let me know what videos you want to see from me next time, and yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.